Hello there, welcome to episode 56 of Never Mind the Bullens. My name's Mike Peters. This is your bite-sized Everton podcast and vodcast. It's taken me 2 days to calm down after Sunday night's debacle. So should we get into it before we get into anything else? I'm looking forward to the Wolves game. But let's be fair, it was an utter shambles. I think there's no equivocation needed. Obviously, I don't swear on this podcast as a rule, but goodness me, I could swear many times about that performance on Sunday, or non-performance, such as it was. But as soon as Sheffield United scored, let's make no bones about it, they were full value for the win, thoroughly deserved it, no question about it at all. It's going to be one of those nights you just knew. It's straight in there in the sort of peak Everton pantheon of, completely nondescript strikers or lads who can't buy a goal that have scored against us and won matches. Corrado Grabby, as an example. There you go. There's a classic one from back in the day. Fair play. Obviously, this lad's at the other end of his career and obviously he's a prospect, but a lad that was playing for Chorley at the beginning of the season scores a winner in a Premier League game. Fair dues to him against the team that were relegated a month ago. You couldn't make it up, and we're going for Europe. And I just think the whole thing encapsulates completely where Everton are at right now in terms of the inconsistency and the clear flaws in the squad and in the tactics as well, and trying to sort of make the best of the situation that we're in. The old adage of Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, an Italian would know that better than anybody else. And, Carlo is obviously fully aware of that. And let's just also clear something else up. These utter clowns that have been doing the rounds on Twitter and social media and all the rest of it, forums, etc., over the last few days, and I think it's been a growing sort of a noisy minority suggesting that we get rid of Carlo and we could do better elsewhere, are absolutely kidding themselves. I'm sorry, that just comes from no sense of perspective and no sense of patience either. Because if you are old enough to remember the days of some of Walter Smith's, sort of the later Walter Smith era, Howard Kendall's third term, Mike Walker, Joe Royle's later era, because when it was going wrong in that 96-97 season after looking so good to start with, Howard Kendall's second spell for parts of it, and you could go back further into the early years of Howard Kendall's first era as well, and there's our most successful ever manager I've mentioned 3 times there. Then you've got to say where and of course, let's not forget more recently, Sam Allardyce, Roberto's last 18 months in charge, the Ronald Koeman's first portion of that second season, Marco Silva. We've had some absolute nonsense that has been foisted on us over the last sort of 30 odd years. And, looking where we're at, look at take a step back and let's take the emotion out of it. Yes, we have been appalling at home this season, and it is not acceptable for Everton when we have really built on a bedrock of our home form over the last 20 years, particularly under David Moyes, where Goodison was an absolute fortress. But this is a very, very peculiar season. There's no question about it. We all know that. So we've got to take these things into consideration. Lack of a pre-season. Lots of clubs with lots of injuries. We've had more than our fair share, trying to bring new players in, trying to shift a lot of dead wood out. So all of that has to be taken into consideration before we do anything knee-jerk. And it's the old sack now, think later. And we cannot be doing that, Everton. We've got to be pragmatic. Look what's happened over the last few years. We've gone manager, sack, and look where that's landed us. We're not making any forward movement, or we haven't been. I think we are now, but obviously the home form has got to be arrested. But as Carlo said himself in the press conference for Wolves, there's obviously signings that need to be made, and he did, which I thought was the most telling part of the press conference, was the fact that he mentioned about all the trophies that he has won. This is a serial winner we're talking about here. Of all the trophies that he's won, he said, I have many of them. He said, not many of them were about quality. He said, a lot of them were about spirit. And that is a clear indication of what we are lacking at the minute. As soon as we went one down on Sunday, it just was obvious. It was like, we don't know what to do. Now, that's partly tactical, but that's partly about leaders, and we've screamed about this for a few years now, about lack of leaders on the pitch. I think we've got them now. I really do think we've got them. They just all kind of failed to sort of engender anything on Sunday, and then we were presented with an obstacle, an opponent that we could not break down. And, there was a lack of quality as well to top it off. So we had the chances to get back in the game. And if Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores either of those two glorious chances, then it's probably a different game and we probably would have gone on to win it. But we didn't. And that is the difference if you are going to be trying to eat at the top table of the Premier League. At the moment, we're feeding off table scraps. And we've got close to getting our mitts on the table and getting a seat at it this season, but it just shows where we are. And we've blown a fantastic opportunity to get into Europe. I think it's gone now. With 2 games to go, we'd have to pull off something miraculous, which, that would be classic Everton to go to the Champions on the last day and win. We could do it, but I think it's going to be difficult and we're going to need other results to go for us. But this Carlo out nonsense has got to stop. The guy took over a poor squad where, the investment had been absolutely all over the place. It had been so scattergun. And then 3 months into his reign, we hit a pandemic. We don't play football for 3.5 months. We come back. We stumble through to the end of the season with some half-decent results, but a lot of poor performances. We start the season, we're top of the league. We win our first 7 matches, and then we've had a significant dip, particularly at home. But our away form has been outstanding. Let's focus on the positives and the strides that we've made and recognise the limitations of the squad that we've got and the changes that need to be made. He said in the press conference as well for Wolves that we need a winger. We've obviously well known that he wants to buy a right back. I think it's clearly we need some extra quality in midfield, and we certainly need other options in attack as well. So, defensively, we're fairly sound. We've got the quality there. We've signed, obviously, Ben Godfrey, who's been fantastic. Mason Holgate will be better again next season. No question about it. He's been very poor and almost cost us a goal again on Sunday, but you've got to give him a chance. This is a player that looked like he was stepping up to England honours last season, and it's just gone wrong for him this season through a variety of just poor form, injuries, lack of confidence, whatever you want. Stick in whichever reason that you want, but they are all factors. Clearly, midfielders are needed. Clearly, attacking players are needed, and that I have no doubt that recruitment will be done in the summer. Moise Kean has obviously come out today and saying that he wants to stay at PSG. Well, yeah, that was given somewhat short shrift in the press conference. He thinks, that we, unless PSG makes an offer, then he stays, which is absolutely right. And we're certainly not taking a loss on him. No question about that. We'll make money on him. Cenk Tosun obviously now has indicated that he wants to see out his contract till the end of next season. Hey, well, there's nothing we can do about that. He may have a little role to play next season, but his time at Everton is winding down, and he's just going to take his money. Don't like it, but hey, that's football for you, isn't it? Let's see what it's like at Goodison tomorrow. I hoped common sense would prevail and that powers that be might move the fixture back a couple of hours. I have a ticket. I'm not going to be able to go because of my new job that has started this week as an announcer at Emirates Old Trafford, which is infinitely disappointing. But off the back of Sunday, hey, I think I can wait till August, having waited this long. Another couple of months, another 10, 12 weeks isn't going to make that much difference. But hope springs eternal. Things could turn for us in the last 2 rounds of games, and we could end up sneaking in. But that will just add extra pressure in terms of the players that we need to get in during the closed season. So, another infinitely disappointing night at Goodison, along with many this season, and it's our worst home form since 1993-4 in terms of 9 defeats. Let's see if we can end it with a win in front of the fans. Fingers crossed. We're always optimists, as Evertonians. We have to try to be, don't we? Because otherwise we just curl up in a ball in the corner and cry. If you want to get in touch, at NMTBpod on Twitter, nmtbpod@gmail.com. This has been a Top Content production, and until the next time, come on, you Blues.